'Tis early. 'Tis very early. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have swatches for you from the January Hella Handmade Creations. If you don't know what Hella Handmade Creations is, every month a bunch of different indie makers get together and they make a polish, and each maker has their own individual theme. I will let you know what the themes are as we are talking about the polishes. But all these makers get together and they make one polish, and it goes on one central website, which is hellahandmadecreations.com, which I will have in the description box below. Hella Handmade Creations is open every month from the 14th to the 21st, so this month it's January 14th to January 21st. Also, before we begin, some polishes are what we call capped, and that means that there are only so many polishes in that shade available for that month, and if a polish has no cap, that simply means that there's an unlimited number of those polishes available for the ordering window. So I have 28 of the offerings for this month. I think there's like 30 something, so I have most of what will be available for January's Hella Handmade Creations. But what I don't have on the website, there are photos on there. You can definitely check those out. I'm gonna try to not ramble this video and keep everything pretty short because there are so many polishes to get through, but let's go ahead and get started. So first and foremost, this one isn't like an available product. This is the Epic 10 Free Top Coat from Under a Hula Moon. This is a gift with purchase. You spend $75 and you get this in your order for free, no code necessary or anything like that. This is a really good top coat. I used it for majority of my swatch photos. Really like it. It dries fast. It's super like plump and glossy. Really good top coat. So that's the Under a Hula Moon Epic 10 Free Top Coat. Moving on to actually available polishes, from Bee's Knees Lacquer we have Are Wasps Not Monsters. The inspiration behind this is Rick and Morty, and it's described as a mid-toned green polish with a touch of red to green shimmer and gold to green multichrome flakies. This will retail for $12 and there is no cap. This is very mermaid-esque to me. It's very ethereal, very shifty. There's a lot of flakes in here. It has a really good formula, very easy to work with. I did get this opaque in 2 coats. Depending on your application, you might want to go in for a 3rd coat, but it does have a really good brush on it as well. It's one of those kind of rounded paddle brushes that make it really easy to get up close to your cuticle, and it's not too wide and it's not too thick, so if I'm going to have a wider paddle brush, I like these kind. This dries dull, so you'll want a top coat to smooth everything out. Nothing dries super textured. Some of these larger flakes can create a slight bit of texture, but nothing that would be like a glitter polish kind of texture. But you will want top coat either way, and this one would look very beautiful with a matte top coat as well, because these are the kind of flakies that I enjoy using a matte top coat on. But in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Are Wasps Not Monsters in a glossy top coat. Up next, from Bluebird Lacquer, we have So Prada You. This was inspired by the Met Gala, and it's described as a full of platinum and gold and purple gold shifting flakies with a sparkle of hollow. This one will retail for $11.50 and there is no cap. This is so blingy, so reflective, so bright on the nail. I probably wouldn't personally wear this as a full manicure, but I could definitely use this as an accent nail. Really beautiful. I wish I'd had this for like Christmas time. Good formula. It only took 2 coats to be opaque for me. It's so densely packed that the opacity was just there in 2 coats. Depending on your application, you might need a 3rd coat, but I don't see that really happening. This dries pretty glossy on its own. It's super reflective, so it is kind of hard to tell if things are dull, but it does dry pretty textured, so you'll want top coat for that reason anyway. And most of what's in here is flakes, so removal is not going to be like sitting there scrubbing, but it does get extremely messy. These platinum flakes and things like that, they like to fall apart kind of as you're taking it off, so it gets stuck in your cuticles, it gets all over your nails. So I would probably personally still wear a peel-off base coat with this one, but that is up to your discretion. It's not going to take any kind of scrubbing to remove. But in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of So Prada You in a glossy top coat. So up next, from Blush Lacquers, we have Is Butter a Carb? This was inspired by Mean Girls and is described as a Marcella nail polish with tones of brown, a shifting pink to orange to gold shimmer, hollow flakes, and gold flakes. This will retail for $12 and there is no cap. So per the usual with blush, I had a great experience with this polish. A very smooth application, no running, pooling, staining, very dainty on the nails. I know it's like a darker kind of shade and it does have added elements to it, but I feel like this is a super work appropriate color as well. This one took 2 coats to build up to opacity. It dried decently glossy, not full and plump. I would still recommend a top coat for this one, and nothing dried textured. Nothing was difficult to remove. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Is Butter a Carb and a glossy top coat. Up next from Chirality, we have Max Dance. This was inspired by It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and it's described as a steel gray polish filled with silver hollow sparks and rainbow iridescent flakes. This will retail for $12, and there is no cap. This one also had a good formula, not too thick, not too thin, very easy to use, easy to apply. I got it opaque in 2 coats. If I were to have gone any thinner on coats though, I would have recommended doing a 3rd coat. So depending on your application, I would say this is a 2 to 3 coater. This one dries dull, so you will want a glossy top coat to finish this off, but nothing's going to dry textured and nothing is going to be difficult to remove. And side note, these are also the flakes that I really like with a matte top coat. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Max Dance and a glossy top coat. Up next from Diva, we have Dior Addict. This was inspired by Sex and the City, and it's described as a delicate lavender base with green and purple shimmers and a dusting of hollow flakes. This will retail for $13, and there is no cap. So the shimmer that's in here is extremely strong, extremely bright, very reflective of this base. It's nice and shifty, you know, in multiple lighting sources. You will get the green in most like lighting, and then maybe because I'm inside a lot, but in other like kind of dimmer lower lightings, you get this like pinky flash. It's really, really gorgeous. Formula is good. It took 3 coats to build up to opacity. With these shifty shimmers, you kind of have to have more of a sheer base to kind of get as much shifty as possible. This one does dry on the dull side. You will want top coat for that reason, but absolutely nothing is going to dry textured and nothing is going to be difficult to remove. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of Dior Addict in a glossy top coat. So up next from Enchanted Polish, we have Because. The inspiration behind this is the Beatles, and it's described as a royal blue based rose to green multichrome with silver hollow micro glitter and a light dusting of hollow pigment. This will retail for $16, and there is no cap. This is such an original multichrome in my collection. The rose to green is very beautiful, and then it starts in a navy base as opposed to a black base. And it's really gorgeous. It all works together really well. The hollow glitter that is in here stands out really nicely. It kind of looks like a night sky-ish manicure, and I love it. I got this one opaque in 2 coats. It has a very smooth, easy to work with formula, not too thick, not too thin, no running, pooling, or staining. You will want top coat to finish this off. It dries a little bit on the dull side. It's not like matte, but it does dry a little bit dull, but these little hollow glitters can create the slightest bit of texture, so I would recommend a top coat for that reason anyway. And removal is going to have a tiny bit of resistance. It's not super difficult like scrubbing off acrylic or anything like that, but it's not as easy as like a flake polish or a cream would be. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Because and a glossy top coat. Up next from Fancy Gloss, we have Ariel. This was inspired by Disney princesses, and is described as a thermal that goes from a turquoise when cold to a white when warm, with 2 types of red glitter and tiny iridescent glitter as well. This will retail for $12, and there's a cap of 150 bottles available. It does have a good formula as well. It's a little bit on the thicker side, so I would recommend trying to work in thinner coats. I did 2 coats for opacity. Depending on your application, you might want to go in for a 3rd. You do get a ton of glitter out without having to do any kind of fishing, swirling, holding the bottle upside down, anything like that, and I can totally see the Little Mermaid in this polish. This is going to dry with some pretty extreme texture, so you will want 1 or 2 coats of a glossy top coat to finish this one off, and removal is going to be pretty difficult because it's loaded with glitter. But in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Ariel and a glossy top coat. Up next from Femme Fatale, we have Sour Gummies. The inspiration behind this is candy, and it's described as a bright red coral when cold to a clear when warm thermal filled with an assortment of neon glitter in various shapes and sizes. This will retail for $13 and there is no cap. Formula on this is good. It's very squishy, very jelly-esque. It does take 3 coats to build up to opacity. I didn't get a ridiculous amount of glitter out, so you will want all 3 of those coats anyway to help build up the glitter as you're applying each coat. I didn't have any kind of running, pooling, or staining with this one, and the glitter takes very minimal manipulation to spread out. This is also going to dry with some pretty good texture, so you will want a thicker glitter-eating glossy top coat to smooth this out. I always get questions about that. I will link the one that I use in the description box if you're interested. But otherwise, if you're using more of a thinner based top coat, you might need 2 coats of it to get fully smoothed nails. Being that there's also glitter in here, you know what I'm going to say, it does take a little bit of scrubbing to remove. Bear that in mind. You can use a peel-off base coat, pure acetone, or nail polish clips. But in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of Sour Gummies and a glossy top coat. Up next from Heather's Hues, we have I Just Needed You to Know Once. This was inspired by The Office and is described as a lavender crowley filled with a strong teal to violet to pink to gold shifty shimmer, hollow dust, hollow flakes, peridot metallic microflakes, turquoise to blue, and violet microflakes. This will retail for $12.50 and there's a cap of 120 bottles available. This looks identical to my prom dress. Very ethereal, very beautiful, very kind of majestical on the nail, a very delicate manicure, really beautiful. This did take me 3 coats to build up to opacity. It does have a very good formula, but again, it's got that shifty shimmer, so your base is going to have to be a little bit more sheer to get the shimmer to kind of stand out to its full potential. This does dry decently glossy on its own. If you don't have time for a top coat, you don't necessarily need it. It is there to protect your manicure though, and it'll keep it lasting a little bit longer, so unless you plan on changing your nails in the next day or so anyway, I would still recommend using a top coat, but nothing is going to dry textured in this, and nothing is going to be difficult to remove. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of I Just Needed You to Know Once and a glossy top coat. Next up from Lollipop Posse Lacquer, we have Lock the Universe Behind Me. This was inspired by Death of Neil Gaiman's Endless and is described as a dark purple-based multichrome that shifts between shades of green, purple, and blue. This will retail for $13 and there's a cap of 125 available. This is super shifty, super multichrome. Any light that you look at it is going to be a different color. It's kind of one of those oil slick multi-chromes. I'm not the biggest fan of just a multi-chrome. I like to have some hollow or some flakes or something added into my multi-chromes. This one is really pretty though if you're looking for multi-chrome, nice quality one. This took me 3 coats to build up to opacity, not unusual for multi-chrome whatsoever. If you didn't plan on doing 3 coats of this, you could easily put 1 coat of this over black and get the same effect. This does have a very good formula. I didn't have any kind of running, pooling, or staining, just a little bit on the sheer side. Needs a little bit of love and attention to build up, but a very beautiful result in the end. Nothing in this is going to dry textured, nothing in this is going to be difficult to remove, so in my swatch photo you're going to see 3 coats of Lock the Universe Behind Me and a glossy top coat. Up next from LynB Designs, we have Soft Serve Chocolate Ice Cream Emoji. This was inspired by the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt and it's described as a pastel gray crelly with turquoise shimmer and hollow micro shreds and gold to silver to blue shifting ultra chrome chameleon flakies. This will retail for $13 and there's a cap of 90 bottles available. This is a quintessential LynB Designs polish to me, a crelly with a shimmer with a flaky. It's pretty, it's very beautiful, very gorgeous. This one did take 3 coats to build up to opacity for me. It's a little bit on the sheer side, but you need it to be a little bit more sheer so you can see all of her added elements in the polish. This one is going to dry dull and pretty textured, so you'll want top coat to finish this off, and these little tiny hollow bits that are in here do take a little bit of scrubbing to remove. It's not as bad as a glitter, but it's not like super easy. It does take just a slight bit of attention to take that off. So in my swatch photo, you'll see 3 coats of soft serve, chocolate ice cream emoji, and a glossy top coat. Up next from Music City Beauty, we have Take On Me. This was inspired by One Hit Wonders and is described as a gray holographic with gunmetal micro flakes. This will retail for $11.50 and there's a cap of 100 bottles available. This is really pretty. I'm really loving gray polish at the moment. This is a really me kind of shade of gray, and to have these little tiny specklings of darker gray flake in there, the hollow, everything is really working in this polish for me, so I really like this one. It's extremely opaque. It took 2 coats to build up to opacity, but I feel like over time, over a couple uses, this is easily going to turn into a 1-coater. This has a really smooth, easy to work with formula, not too thick, not too thin, no running, pulling, or staining. It does dry on the dull side, so you will want top coat to finish this off, but nothing is going to dry textured and nothing is going to be difficult to remove. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Take On Me and a glossy top coat. Up next from my indie polish, we have Seashell. This was inspired by My Little Pony and it's described as a darkened lilac with tons of green shimmer and green sparkle and a blue glint. This will retail for $12.50 and there's a cap of 35 bottles available. So this one also has a smooth formula. It's a little bit on the thicker side, but it's not difficult to work with. I didn't have any running, pulling, or staining, but I did want to make sure to work in nice thin coats just to get everything nice and even. That being said, I worked in pretty thin coats and I still was able to achieve opacity on this in 2 coats. This is going to dry down dull, so you will want top coat to smooth this out, but nothing is going to dry textured and nothing is going to be difficult to remove. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Seashell and a glossy top coat. Up next from Nail Hoot, we have Mother Ginger. This was inspired by the Nutcracker in the 4 Realms and it's described as an antique bronze to pink duochrome base that's packed with a linear hollow. This will retail for $10.99 and there is no cap. I've said it once and I'll say it again, I really like the formula on her Nutcracker in the 4 Realms polishes. They're all so beautiful, so smooth. They're a little bit on the thinner side, but they're not difficult to work with. They build up really nicely to opacity. This one took 2 coats to build up and I didn't have any issues with texture. I didn't have any issues with removal. It does dry a little bit on the dull side, so you will want a top coat for that reason, and the top coat is also going to help the hollow stand out to its full potential. Nothing in this stained me either, and the shift that's in here is really beautiful. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Mother Ginger and a glossy top coat. Up next from Necessary Evil, we have Peacock Feathers. This was inspired by Under the Microscope and is described as a gray base with a purple and blue aurora, scattered hollow, and flakies. This one will retail for $11.50 and there is no cap. So again, I know I'm just feeling the grays right now, but I really like this polish. It's such, again, a me kind of gray color, and then it's got this beautiful shimmer to it. It's got these beautiful flakes to it. I mean, it's really gorgeous. I actually think I want to repaint my nails this today. This has a smooth, easy to work with formula. I got it completely opaque in 2 coats. It's going to dry not only dull, but slightly textured because of everything that's in here. So you will want a top coat to kind of finish this one off, but most of what's in here are these flakes, so nothing is going to be difficult to remove. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Peacock Feathers and a glossy top coat. Up next from Night Owl Lacquer, we have Hot Looking, Smooth Talking, Friskiest SOB. This was inspired by that 70s show and it's described as a white crelly with a bright blue shimmer, several different crystal chameleon flakies, and gold crystal flakes. This will retail for $12.50 and there is no cap. This one does have a nice ethereal-esque look to it. The shimmer in a white base, it kind of reminds me of like glistening snow. The gold flakes that are in here do stand out really nicely. Formula is good. It's a little bit on the thicker side, so you do want to kind of make sure to work in nice thin coats, so each coat has a few minutes to dry. This one did take me 3 coats to build up to opacity. It's going to dry on the dull side, so you will want a top coat to finish this one off. But nothing dries super textured. Some of these larger flakes, I've said it before and I'll say it again, some of these larger flakes can dry with a slight bit of texture. Nothing that one coat of a regular glossy top coat can't smooth out. But it is there, so you will want that top coat either way, and nothing in this is going to be difficult to remove. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of hot looking, smooth talking, Riskiest SOB. Up next from my brand Pampered Polishes, we have Why is a Raven Like a Writing Desk? This was inspired by Alice in Wonderland, and it's described as a Coca-Cola brown with a cherry red flash loaded with various black and red glitter and holographic silver and gold flakes. This will retail for $12, and there's a cap of 100 bottles available. This was inspired by the Queen of Hearts, and I had to resist every urge in my body to make a white curly base. I love a white curly base, but when I see like the Queen of Hearts, I just want to do it. I just want to do the white curly. So instead, I decided to go with the darker base with the red flash and then accent it with the red, black, and gold, because I feel like I do a lot of white curlies. Not that I'm mad at it. I love me some white curlies, but, you know, resist the urge. I think this has a good formula. It took 3 coats to build up to opacity for me. You have to make this one a little bit more sheer. That way the flash, the shimmer shines through, as well as all of the added elements that are in this polish. This is going to dry with some texture, so you will want a top coat for that reason, and removal is going to take a little bit. It's not extremely bad, but it is, you know, not as easy as, say, a cream would be. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of Why is a Raven Like a Writing Desk and a glossy top coat. So up next from Pop Polish, we have the First Avenger. This was inspired by heroines, and it's described as a navy base with red random metallic flakes that shift gold, green, iridescent flakes, and holographic flakes. This will retail for $14.50, and there is no cap. This does have a good formula. You really kind of have to know how to work with Pop's polishes to get it to work as smoothly. It's got an extremely long stem, but it does have a pretty thin brush. So the way I do it is whenever I'm taking the brush out, I rub the entire side along the stem, let it run down as much as possible, and then I will wipe just the top part to get like the smallest of beads on my brush, because polish will still run down the stem. Even if you wipe it all the way off, it'll still come from somewhere. So just bear that in mind. It does take a little bit of trial and error to work with these kind of polishes and brushes, but the outcome is very beautiful. Again, it does have a smooth, easy to work with formula. I did 2 coats on this one. I probably should have done a 3rd coat, but I was happy in 2. This one is going to dry dull and extremely textured, so I would recommend that thicker glitter-eating glossy top coat to finish this off. Pop does have a good one that I used to use years and years ago. I don't remember what it's called. Maybe something about a glass? But it is a good, thick, glitter-eating glossy top coat. Would recommend a thicker top coat to smooth this out, and removal is going to be extremely difficult, so I would recommend a peel-off base coat or pure acetone when taking this off. But in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of the First Avenger and a glossy top coat. Up next from Pretty Jelly, we have the Lovers. This was inspired by tarot cards, and it's described as a gold metallic flaky with hollow red and gold micro glitter, gold hollow hexes, lavender hexes, red hearts, and ultra chrome chameleon flakies. This one will retail for $12, and there is no cap. So until I was reading the description for this a couple days ago, I didn't even know there was hearts in here. They are all attached to the back side of my bottle, so I probably should have been able to easily see that, but whenever I was applying the polish, I had zero idea they were even in there, or I would have made an effort to get some out. That being said, it leads me to believe that they're not extremely easy to get out in the first place, so you might have to do some kind of fishing to get that out, but these larger purple ones and gold ones do come out fairly easy. This one does have a good formula. It took 3 coats for me to build up to opacity. You could double this one as a topper if you wanted to, but I did love how it looked built up on its own. very kind of Christmas time. I realize that we're past Christmas time, but it's a very Christmassy polish to me. That kind of like flashy gold screams Christmas, and I really, really like that. So like I said, 3 coats for full opacity. This is going to dry with a good bit of texture, so you will want a thicker glitter eating glossy top coat to smooth this out, and removal is definitely going to be difficult, so use your preferred method of removal when it comes to extremely dense glitters. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 3 coats of the Lovers and a glossy top coat. Up next, from Sassy Pants Polish, we have My Love Will Never Die. This was inspired by Lucifer's love for Chloe from the TV show Lucifer, and is described as a silver blue scattered holographic polish with various holographic pigments, micro glitters, micro shreds, and holographic blue hex glitters. This will retail for $12, and there's a cap of 100 bottles available. So this is a pretty dense holographic base. A lot of the times whenever I read a holographic base, it's like a holographic micro glitter, which means it would be more of a clear base full of holographic micro glitter. This one is like actually pigmented with the holographic base, which means to me that it's going to be extremely linear on the nails, and it's going to shine very holographic in the sun. And adding these blue hex glitters to that element, it's very blingy on the nails. Formula is good. I did 2 coats on this. Looking back on that, I probably should have gone in for a 3rd coat. So depending on your application and how picky you are, this one will be opaque in 2 to 3 coats. It is going to dry with a good amount of texture because of the blue glitter that's in here, so you will want top coat to smooth that out, and removal is going to be just the tiniest bit difficult. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of My Love Will Never Die and a glossy top coat. Up next, from Schlee Polish, we have Corrupted Crystal. This was inspired by the dark crystal, and it's described as a violet hollow shade with red and pink shimmers throughout. This one will retail for $15, and there's a cap of 100 bottles available. You know what I love, what I truly love, is finding a purple polish that I love. This is so beautiful, I love the shimmer that's in here. I think that's what it is. I think when you get these dark purple bases and you add this like bright flash of shimmer, that's what I really like in purple polishes. I don't like lavenders per se. I don't like, you know, lilacs, but these dark vampy purples, and then you add those bright shimmers. This is probably my favorite polish of the month, if not one of my like top 3, because I really like a lot of things from this month. But I am always so excited to find a purple that I like, and this one is it. This has a fantastic formula, completely opaque in 2 coats. It does dry a little bit dull. If you don't have time for a top coat, you could probably skip it with this one if you're not picky. I would recommend that top coat for keeping your manicure lasting anyway, but nothing is going to dry textured or be difficult to remove. And I also didn't have any kind of staining with this one, being such a pigmented base. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Corrupted Crystal and a glossy top coat. Here's another one that I really like this month. This is called Serotonin from Supernatural Lacquer. This was inspired by neurotransmitters, and it's described as a delicate, lightly violet tinted, milky white base with a copper to gold to green shifty shimmer, flakes, and linear hollow pigment. This will retail for $12, and there's a cap of 100 bottles available. So I did this one both built upon its own as well as over a navy blue base. Over the navy blue base, the shimmer that's in here is so strong, and it's so shifty, and it's so holographic, and it's so beautiful. That's probably my preferred way of wearing this one. And then built up on its own, these little iridescent flakes really shine off the base. I love this polish both ways. It's probably why it's one of my favorites of this month, because I feel like it's an extremely versatile polish. This has a good formula. It's a little bit on the thinner side. I didn't have any kind of running or pulling with it though. I did try to work as thin as possible on my coats, so that might be why if you work in thicker coats you might have that issue. So on its own, I did 3 coats, and then I did 1 coat over the navy base for this. It does dry smooth, so if you don't have time for that top coat, you don't necessarily need it. I would still recommend it, and nothing is going to dry textured and nothing is going to be difficult to remove. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 1 as well as 3 coats of Serotonin and a glossy top coat. Up next from Turtle Tootsie's Polish, we have So What. This was inspired by Pink, the singer, and it's described as a neon green cream with pink shimmer and purple to pink chameleon flakies. This will retail for $11.50, and there's a cap of 100 bottles available. So do you guys remember when neons not only took like 24 coats to be completely opaque, but for them to actually show as a neon, you needed to wear them over a white base? I just wanted to go ahead and throw it out there that I'm so glad we were past that stage in our lives. This one took 2 coats to be completely opaque, and it is very bright and vibrant on the nail, very smooth, easy to work with formula. Everything that's in her description shows up beautifully in this base, though it is so pigmented. There's a ton of flakes in here. They're easy to get out. They take no manipulation to spread out across the nail. I really, really like this polish. Nothing in here is going to dry textured, be difficult to remove or stain, so in my swatch photo you're going to see 2 coats of So What and a glossy top coat. So up next from Under a Hula Moon Wax Melts, we have We Were on a Break. This was inspired by Friends, and it has fragrances of fresh air, maple bourbon, apples, and chocolate, and it'll retail for $4.50 with no cap. So this actually has a really original scent. It kind of has obviously that like sweet scent to it, while also having like a perfumey scent. Very original. I've never had anything like it before. It is an extremely strong throw. I have talked about their wax melts many a times before. I tend to put them, oh, you can't see it, it's over here. You can't see it, but I do tend to put them in a wax melt that I have up there. And my whole downstairs area, like I have stairs through this way, a bathroom through this way that connects to the kitchen and then to the living room, and then it, you know, it just kind of makes a big old circle. I can melt that in here and smell it all the way in the living room. It's got an extremely strong scent and an extremely strong throw, and that does go for everything that I've tried from Under a Hula Moon. I do tend to more so prefer the kind of fresh scents, the naturey scents, as opposed to like artificial sweet scents. This one isn't bad though, with the undertone of the like perfumey smell. It is still very much right up my alley, so I do really like this, and that is the Under a Hula Moon Wax Melts in the scent We Were on a Break. Up next from Vanessa Molina, we have Fano. This was inspired by Fawn's Labyrinth, and it's described as holographic microflakes in ultrachrome chameleon multichrome blue to purple to pink multichrome flakes in a clear base. This will retail for $10.50, and there's a cap of 100 bottles available. There's a ton happening in this polish. This one could essentially double as a topper if you wanted it to, but I do, again, really like how this looks built up on its own. It did have a good formula. It's a little bit on the thicker side, but it's not difficult to work with. It stays right where you put it. I did 2 coats of this. I definitely should have done a 3rd coat. It seems to be a trend this month. I should have done a 3rd coat, but I didn't. I did 2. And I did really like how this looked. It's that kind of 2-coater that nobody's going to notice your nail line except maybe yourself. But again, this does have a smooth formula. Nothing in here is going to dry super textured. These are mostly larger flakes though, so it could be a little bit on the lumpy side. Not lumpy, that's a terrible word, but like a little bit on the uneven side in physical appearance, but 1 coat of a top coat, any kind of top coat should smooth that out. And nothing is going to be difficult to remove as far as scrubbing goes, but it is a very messy polish to remove. These flakes tend to break apart as you're removing them, and they get absolutely everywhere. So just bear that in mind. I still would recommend a peel-off base coat if you have that option. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of Fano and a glossy top coat. We made it to our last polish this month. Our last polish is from Wildflower Lacquer, and it's called Kick Some Ass and Drink Some Beer. I think that is the 2nd polish with the word ass in it this month. Yeah. Anyway, this is inspired by Dazed and Confused, and it's described as a dark purple base with a red to gold to orange multi-chrome shift. This will retail for $12.50, and there's a cap of 100 bottles available. This one, to me, reads more of an oxblood than a deep purple. It's that nice vampy kind of look on the nail. It's very stunning, very beautiful, very appropriate for the winter. I tend to wear these kind of polishes, these dark oxbloody vampy colors, starting in like September, late September, early October, and I will wear it all the way through like February. I love these kind of oxblood colors. This one does have a good formula. It took 2 coats to build up to opacity. It's a little bit on the thicker side, but it's one of those thickness that stays right where you put it. It's very, very smooth. This one is going to dry on the dull side, so you will want top coat for that reason, but nothing is going to dry textured and nothing is going to be difficult to remove. So in my swatch photo, you're going to see 2 coats of kick some ass and drink some beer and a glossy top coat. And guys, that is it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this month's offerings that I had to share with you. Again, I don't have everything, so check out the website if you'd like to see the remaining polishes. Let me know what you plan on picking up from this month's Hella Handmade Creations. Let me know what your favorite was from this video. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I will talk to you again next time.